Ruined castles, ancient towns, mysterious caves. Every year, archaeologists find hundreds of artifacts. To find the truth and unravel what's left to us from our ancestors, the Crew of Archaeology Mystery of History program, together with scientists, are investigating objects found on site of historic events. Watch our program and get ready for exciting discoveries.
The Chu-Talas Valley is a vast territory of southern Kazakhstan. This fertile land is a cradle of ancient civilizations. Originating in the spurs of Talas Ridge, the Talas River had witnessed a line of important historical events. The Great Silk Road passed through here in the Middle Ages. Thousands of caravans, merchants and diplomatic missions walked this road from Byzantium to the Turks and from the Turks to China. The Talas River brought life to ancient cities, large and small farmers and nomad settlements. Distinguished people of Kazakh lands were born in here. History remembers their names in songs and legends, though words of wisdom are still transmitted from one generation to another. Their appreciative descendants put up monuments in their memories. The entire region around the Talas River is filled with stories and legends. This is where our ancestors lived, following their nomadic lifestyle. These lands remember misfortunes of the Kazakh people. Local heroes, Baturs, were able to unite people and protect their lands at once. In Ucharal, 30-40 kilometers from here, the grave of the renowned Sanurak Batur lays, and not far from that place there is a burial of Koshek Batur. Kizil Kurgan and Jana Kurgan are located next to the Talas River. Here's where Boltirik Sheshen is buried. Boltirik Almenuli is a talented speaker and Batur of the Kazakh people. He was born in 1771 in the Chu Valley in Shokpar village. His ancestors were from the Sinya, Ulijus, Sti tribe. This tribe consists of two clans, Oik and Lik. Boltirik comes from the Oik clan, Auizus again. We might even say that Boltirik was the ancestor of Dimash Ahmetovich Kunaev by tribal belonging. He was born in Jambul region, Chu district, but grew up in Bakanas village. Numerous descendants from Auizus again clan live in this village to these days. Although he grew up and spent most of his life in Bakanas, he returned to his native lands by the end of his life and found his peace there. Boltirik Almenuli had demonstrated his poetic and oratorical talents at an early age. As a young man, he expressed his thoughts precisely and eloquently, knew how to weave words into Dombra harmonies. He developed great appreciation for folk poetic art through songs and cues of famous steppe artists. Young Boltirik became well known for his improvisations and his wit. No wonder, after all, he comes from a family of Karamindi B, diplomat, brave warrior, orator, associate to Ablay Khan. Boltirik was and remains a vivid representative of Kazakh oral literature, folklore in general. He was a follower of the great Asan Kaygı. His descendants today, those who are acquainted with his work and life, think Boltirik as their spiritual mentor. The works of Boltirik Almenuli were published and included in the textbooks. Bright intellect and discernment of Boltirik Almenuli ensured his reputation as wise and educated man. He took an active part in resolving litigation, land disputes of his congeners, knew how to find a way out of any complex situation. His resourcefulness and sense of justice made him known not just in his village, but gained him respect far beyond its borders. People called Boltirik an orator, Sheshen. Our ancestors said, only a sharp tongue and a wise word can stop a burning flame and a galloping horse. Well, Boltirik was just like that. He could resolve any dispute and give edification. In general, everything that our ancestors, great speakers, had said, all of it is a great legacy that is still relevant to this day. Hasan Kaygı, Shalkis, Boltirik Sheshen, their sayings were about the upbringing of the young, the preservation of dignity and national traditions. Legends about Boltirik Sheshen spread throughout the steppe. Thieves, crooks, cattle raiders and other wrongdoers were afraid of crossing their ways with him. Common people chose him to be a people's judge.
Boltirik Sheshen Almenulu 18-19 ғасырларда өмір сүрген.
Boltirik Sheshen Almenuli is a great Kazakh speaker and batur of the 18th, 19th centuries. There were times when he was a household name not only in Kazakh land. Neighboring Central Asian countries also knew about the eloquence of Boltirik. People remember many of the wise sayings of Boltirik. His laconic narratives' edifications contain profound meaning. Quoting one of Boltirik Sheshen's speeches, "A thoroughbred horse's mane is trimmed so that a mongrel horse would not compare its mane with it. A brave warrior doesn't have wealth, so that an unworthy man would not compare himself to him through his riches." Kazakh, Kyrgyz and Uzbek people have many sayings called the words of Boltirik.
Осы Boltirik'ten қалған небір аталы сөздер бар.
The great orator is known for his aphorisms. Some were about the friendship of the Kazakh and Kyrgyz people. I remember some great sayings.
Сөздер менің есіме түсіп отыр қазір. Ақсақал қараңғы түнде айдай көрінеді деген сөз бар.
Even in the dark of the night, the Aksakal's figure is luminous. Any litigation can be resolved in one word. These and many other sayings are still being passed on from one to another. Boltirik Sheshen was known not only for his sharp words, but for heroic deeds. He participated in the national liberation movement of the Kazakh people under the leadership of Kenisa Khan. He was worried about the fate of the people, protecting interests of ordinary people. Jibek, the grandson of Ablay Khan, once said, "I saw two great kings and one speaker, Joly Baktibay, Suyunbay of Kızıl Yekay tribe, and orator Boltirik. These three won my heart."
Ал енді бұл кісінің
Boltirik lived in the same era with Kunanbay Özkenbayli, Jibek, Nogaybay B, great leaders and thinkers.
Өзімен тұстас өмір сүрген қазақтың белгілі ірі.
Despite their authority and life experience, they did not resolve any dispute without consulting Boltirik. Boltirik Sheshen died in 1854. The first mausoleum was built right after his death, dilapidated over time and was destroyed in the late 19th century. The new mausoleum on Talas land is a tribute to the well-known speaker.
Енді бұл кісінің кесенесін орнату жөнінде кезінде құрылған арнайы комиссия болған.
Considering the idea of building a mausoleum, a special commission was created to determine the location for construction. The commission decided to establish a historical mausoleum here for a reason. Many descendants of the great orator live in this region.
Осы өлкенің өзінде де
In general, there are three historical monuments in this area. The Karakuja Mosque, the Boltirik Sheshen Mausoleum, there is also Boltirik's well. Turara Skulov's father, Rıskul, is also buried here. His tombstone is located behind the Boltirik Mausoleum. We are proud to be born on the same land with such people.
жатыр. Яғни сонда
The total area of the mausoleum is 16 by 20 meters. The memorial complex covers an area of 30 hectares. It was built on a hill. Seems like Boltirik Sheshen mausoleum is hovering over the Talas Valley.
Бұл енді қалай десем болады. Мына өзі биік төбе орнатылған жері.
The mausoleum itself stands on a hill. A view from here is great. You could see Gorges and the valley. Everything 40-50 kilometers from here. Mausoleum too, because it stands up there. The new mausoleum was built in the mid-1990s. Its construction united all people of the region.
Осы жерде бүкіл мынау Тараздан, ауданнан келіп, осының бәрін халық өзінің қолымен жасады.
Almost every local resident participated in construction of the mausoleum. People were coming even from regional areas, and everything was done with their own hands. No one was shrinking because people know their history and respect the memory of Boltirik Sheshen. Akin is a descendant of Boltirik Sheshen. He believes it's his duty to preserve the memory of the famous countryman. Akin tells tourists, visitors about the rich history of the region and how the mausoleum of Boltirik was built. This marble was brought here from Karatau city. Interiors are also laid with marble. Just like ancient architects would do, local specialists selected best building materials. The mountains of Karatau, the spurs of the Talas range, are enriched with useful materials. Local stone, marble and granite were used in the construction of mausoleums, fortress walls, mosques and other buildings. The materials used to decorate the inside of the mausoleum are also from the local supplier. Although the new mausoleum was built just recently, it already had undergone a reconstruction. All these wrecks were trimmed with marble, but it turned out to be high-maintenance material. It began to fall off. After that, local residents restored the inner part of the mausoleum themselves. Now it looks much better. Interiors are styled like a Kazakh ute, resembles the skeleton of a ute. Everything is in our national style. Windows made of fiberglass, strong, so that the birds couldn't fly in. Everything was done to make sure the monument stands long and firm. The mausoleum is surrounded by green plantations. The locals landed Tuja and Saxol. We take care of these trees. If something is not right, we fix it right away. We closely look after them, like they're our babies, look after the territory. Those trees were planted several years ago and have grown since then. We need to water them on time. This Saxol over here, it's a native plant here. If not deliberately broken, it will stand for a long time. Today, people remember Boltirik Sheshen as a great humanist, a philosopher and a poet. His literary heritage is studied by school children and students. The dramatic events of his life are little-known pages in the history of the Kazakh people. His influence and role in preserving the integrity and unity of the Kazakh people was enormous. His character was so strong that his descendants still honor his memory. The proof of this is the creation of this historical monument, the mausoleum. I believe that as long as people remember and honor the memory of Boltirik, preserve his heritage and transmit to descendants, the name of the great orator and Batur will never be forgotten. His name is forever tied with history and traditions of steppe nomads. Talas land still keeps secrets and mysteries of the past. There are many more historical names that inspired legends and took part in historical events long time ago.